so here we all are, one big happy family, but we wanted to give you the perspective from all of us on just a few things. So I remember that day that we made our list of folks and we decided, okay, we're going to give y'all a call and let's see what you have to say. And I know some things that we were listening for. I do think that, I don't know why we didn't FaceTime or Skype so we could see each other. I don't know why we didn't do that other than we were driving.
Yeah, I think
But I do feel like you can kind of hear in someone's voice a little bit more than if you're just, excuse me, we have flies, than just reading about you. So what were some of the things you were listening for when we were talking with JP and Rudolph? And by the way, they didn't know each other, so this was completely separate.
Some of the things I was listening for, well, I was listening for a certain set of skills. So I knew that we needed somebody to champion our pasture chicken, and then we needed somebody that had an overall sense of skill on a lot of different areas. So on our chickens, I really wanted somebody that didn't know about chickens.
So we raise
and I got that
animals.
with JP.
We raise animals very unconventionally. So sometimes experience raising animals almost hinders your ability to teach.
Yeah. So I wanted somebody that did not have a lot of chicken experience, but I wanted somebody that had the ability to keep records and was organized. So raising chickens on pasture is a very methodical job, and that was what I was looking for with that. And I felt like as soon as I spoke with JP, I thought that was going to be something he could excel in. JP also had experience with taking products direct to the consumer in South Africa, which is something that we do here, which is what we do here. And I felt like that experience would be beneficial, just grasping the overall concept of going direct to the consumer. With Rudolph was very experienced in a lot of different things. You know, he had done a lot of experience in maintenance on grounds, and was, you know, with farming, you know, everything's held together with duct tape, baling wire, and that sort of thing. So that was what caught my ear with Rudolph. And honestly, you know, just the maturity. I felt like that Rudolph had the maturity in his voice. I thought that JP was a well put together young man. Got a fly here that's picking me up.
Continue on.
I'll splice this together. I can't hardly breathe without sucking it up my nose.
Loves you.
Okay, we're ready to start again. I felt that Rudolph had probably a wider range. I felt like that Rudolph.
That's a fourth one. Bloopers.
I felt like that Rudolph had a wide array of skills. You know, everything from plumbing, electrical to mechanical, and that was the skill set I was looking for the other person. And as it turned out, you know, we get it right on the head.
That's right. I was probably listening with my mama ears for character. When I hear them talk about their family, Rudolph talked about his wife and his girls, JP talked about his family, his girlfriend. That gave me a little glimpse into what how they were as people, and that was very important to me. And then also confidence and the ability to be taught. So as we mentioned in a previous video, everything is new. Both of them mentioned that leave all your skills behind, be ready to learn a lot. We've talked about the employer needs to be able to be a teacher, and so I was listening to openness, whether it was openness to come over, openness to learn, openness about our farm, those sorts of things. So I think that was what I was listening for. What about y'all? What were you listening for?
Well, basically, by the time we spoke on the phone, we already knew about the farm. We saw the YouTube videos, and
The power of social media is a great thing in this.
and it just felt like a family setup. It felt like we will be able to be at home on this farm, and I think that's the main reason I was interested in coming over there.
So do your due diligence with Facebook, even across countries. We did too. We looked you up on Facebook. So that's the power of social media, is you can get a glimpse. If I'd seen, JP hanging from the rooftops, partying all the time, or just kidding. Sorry, we like to tease JP. We like to tease JP. I might be a little more hesitant. But what we saw, and I'm hear you say what you saw, you felt like you got at least a glimpse. I know social media doesn't always have to be, it's a lot of positives, but at least gives you a glimpse into what their life is like.
I want to add something to that is that both Brulot and JP, as you just said, presented themselves positively. So since we did our first video with these guys, we've received so many requests for employment, and somehow we get requests with people that aren't wearing a shirt, or you go and you do a little background on them, and it's like, oh my goodness, that is never ever going to work. So you need to be prepared that even in a country that is half a world away, is that what you put out there is going to be seen by everybody.
That's right.
And potential employees.
That's right. JP?
Yes, what Alan said is like, you need to be professional in every way, shape or form that you present yourself, especially if you want a job. I mean, you can't just go in a Facebook comment and try to get a job that way. I think I may have tried it a few times, but I don't think anyone ever has gotten a job like that. So follow the correct channels like that, and you get through eventually. It's not always easy. And what was the initial question?
So this is actually the first time I learned that you actually had 2 other interviews before us. So what did you listen for when you were talking to the 3 different people?
Were we just on number 3?
So most of the other interviews were, it was people that already had SA people there, South African people there, using H2A workers, already established, and they wasn't open, there wasn't a Facebook page or stuff like that, so you couldn't really see a glimpse into what you're going to do. It was like heading on into the unknown, like I did here, but I had a small glimpse to see what I was heading into. And you have this venue, you can communicate with people. This is more openly and more communication, and I'm a guy that likes to communicate with people, and I feel like I'm privileged enough to be able to do that.
So if I hear you right, you're saying that you've got to think about your own personality and how it would fit well with the farm you're going to.
Definitely, yes. And it wasn't on my discretion that I get, like, I can say they offered me jobs. So the first one I didn't get through. So for the people listening, you always have hurdles. And it may feel like you won't get through, but keep on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there was a transition period. What could we do as the employer to help with that transition? One, I'll go ahead and answer a little bit. One, patient. Understand that everything about their world has been, what is that phrase my grandmother used to use about a basket? I don't remember. Anyway, it's all thrown up and it all comes down very different. So the world in which they are comfortable and accustomed to is no longer. It's a temporary situation, but it is no longer. So be patient during that transition period and do what you can with with comfort. So one thing that we learned is we needed to make an adjustment in the housing situation in order to make it a better fit. And we were open to that. And so be open to making a few changes per their request in order to make the transition better. I think the other thing I would say is be patient while teaching. Everything is new. All of the skills might be new. Even if they've had a farming experience, it may not be in the same way it is here on your farm. So be very patient and make sure that you're teaching properly, not just throwing them in the deep end and say learn to swim. And there is some of that. There's an element of that. But for the most part, you're going to have to realize as the employer, you need to be patient. Anything else you can think of?
Well, I think also as an employer, you have to have the mindset from the very beginning. In our situation, we work in very close proximity to each other. It's different with any place that H2A workers go to. You know, you may go to a row crop farm and rarely see the owner.
And definitely not see the wife.
Definitely not see the wife. Yeah, that's exactly right. So each situation is very different. In our situation here is I'm working with these guys on a daily basis. They live close to us. And we have a very public farm. You know, we bring thousands of visitors to our farm every year. And so these guys had to be presentable to the public. So I think that you could say that since y'all been here, you've made a lot of friends through the farm. And, you know, it doesn't matter where a person comes from, you know, skin color, creed, whatever. You know, people deserve to be treated well. And that's how we treat people. And that's how we want to treat, you know, JP and Rudolph and anybody in the future that comes here in the farm. We want to be able to treat them in a manner that is respectful and deserving for what they need.
And expect the same from them.
Oh yes,
From others.
obviously we expect the same from them.
So if I'm hearing what you're saying, your advice to employers is recognize the type of farm you have and make sure that you are looking for the type of person that would fit that type of farm.
I'm saying that you are not bringing a commodity over here. You're bringing a human. You're bringing a human that has a family, a human that has just as many things that he feels passionately or she feels passionately about, just like you do. And if you're going to be successful with it, you're going to have to be respectful of what their feelings are.
I like that. I like you talking about feelings.
Oh,
All right, so from y'all's point of view, and then we'll flip it, from y'all's point of view, what could the employer do to make that transition happen easier?
Honestly, that's quite difficult. I think we are very fortunate that we got you guys. Because every time there's been a problem, you're open, willing to help, gone the extra mile. We don't have anything to complain about or we don't know how it is on the other farms. I take it we had a bit of a problem with privacy that you sorted out within seconds basically.
Not privacy.
Yeah.
Not
privacy by us at home.
A housing situation.
Housing situation.
Because remember, a lot of times you're bringing folks over that have never met. They met each other here on U.S. soil. They didn't know each other before. So
I take it there's guys living like 4 or 5 in one bedroom, and we have a big house. So we are really fortunate. I think we got, I'm pretty sure, the best farm in the US.
aw, thanks. We didn't ask them to say that.
bravo!
So yeah, take that from Ellen and Angela.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just look at their Facebook page and see what you need to do. So when I got here, it was quite difficult. Ellen is a difficult man on the farm. Sorry about that. But he learned me in a way that I think I will take away from this and someday teach my kids in the same way. He taught me that I should learn by struggle. He's not going to take over from me whenever there's a problem. He's going to let me handle the problem, and if I do it incorrectly, he'll show me why I did it incorrectly. incorrectly and what I should have done. And I think that's a valuable lesson for any employer to teach his employees.
I like that. So what I'm taking away from that is employers, listen, we can't solve every problem, but we can do our best to make sure that their stay here is comfortable and the transition works well. And then also I'm hearing from you saying to other folks, be willing to be prepared for struggle, that there is going to be a time of struggle, but understand that there is another side, that
Yeah.
through the employer supporting you and through you working through it, you will get to the other side of the struggle.
So what I actually want to pronounce is, if you want to be a good employer, be a difficult employer. But not only in necessary times. I think that's
We,
what
we do recognize we have very high expectations here at the farm, and we do recognize that there is a very demanding workload.
and it's only in teachable moments. I mean, it's not like it's always difficult. It's the moments that I needed difficulty on me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, JP, I mean, we have high expectations here, and it would be doing you a disservice for us to accept mediocrity from somebody that can provide something more than that. So one of my goals is for you to go home a different person than what you come here with, more self-confidence, more awareness,
More skills.
and have a larger palette of paint to paint with, and that's for both of you. And if I can teach that, and we can do it through work, that's what we're going to do. But I'm always going to expect the most out of anybody that we have, and you got to be willing to give it back also, which you guys have done very well at that.
And I appreciate that.
So one other thing that I would encourage the employees to do is to communicate. So we can't fix problems as an employer if we're not aware of them. And so I'm not saying complain and gripe about every little thing, but at the same time, if there is something that needs to be addressed that we can potentially resolve, then we need to communicate. And so at least on this farm, we're believers and let's sit down and talk about it. And I would encourage the employers to be open to it and the employees to feel safe to do that. Anything else on that?
No, I agree with you totally. We have a lot of we have multi-week discussions on farm planning and what we're going to do in the following days. I don't ever want these guys to wake up in the morning and not know what they're going to do, or wake up dreading it. So we have a basic schedule that we go through on a daily basis, and we communicate that multiple times a week on what we're trying to accomplish in a week. And it's just like managing people, regardless if it's on a farm or if it's in construction or if it's in a convenience store. Communication and having work planning is key to being successful for any type job.
That's right. Okay, so any last takeaways from about anything you want to share?
I'll go last, and we'll wait to hear what they have to say.
You can go first.
Well, I feel like that we're by no means experts as far as the process. I'd like to think that we are poster children of the process, of the experience for all of us. I'm saying all of us are poster children, meaning that we hit the jackpot. But it doesn't come, I don't want to say we got lucky. Yes, we did get lucky. There is some luck in this. However, I do feel like the four of us have worked really hard at making sure we do have those open lines of communication, that as the employer, I am sensitive to them as people and their needs and their families. As employees, they're sensitive to us and our privacy. So I think that just being aware, being sensitive, being kind, being just basic good humans has turned into a wonderful experience. So I kind of like to pat ourselves on the back that I feel like the four of us are poster children for the H2A work visa program.
Rulo?
All I can say is I appreciate everything you guys have been doing for us. Every time there's been an issue or something, it's a radio call away or just a Monday meeting. Everything gets sorted. You don't have to go to bed worrying what the day is going to hold tomorrow. No, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
You're welcome. And that doesn't mean that every day's easy. They'll
No.
tell you. Today was one of the hottest days we've had, and so days are long and days are hard. But that doesn't mean that you can't end the day well and start the day well and work together well. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the great leadership, the great relationship we have, Ellen and Angela, and also just having a work environment where you can spread your ideas and you can safely land on no, it cannot work, or yes, let's try that. And I think that's the work environment everyone wants to succeed in.
Yeah, I think everything has worked out well for us. I think there is, it's just like hiring anybody for any situation, being able to get the right fit. The first time may not be the right fit. But I can say this about these guys, and I think it's true about South African people in general. They're very hard workers. They're very conscientious of their work. They're very honest people. And they're not afraid to commit to signing on with a plan. You know, we use that term all the time about buying in, you know, and being invested in what you're doing and being invested as an employee. And these guys, I feel like are very invested in the farm and what we're trying to accomplish. And sometimes the days are really, really hard. And you know, when you're shoulder to shoulder with somebody and you're sweating together, you know, you're in that foxhole together. It's something that I learned in the Army. You know, you've got to be able to depend on that person that's beside you. And these guys fit into that very well. So I'm very happy with the way things have turned out. And I think it could have just as easily not went that way. But fortunately, the Lord blessed us with being able to find people that we could work well together. I am a little concerned about me being difficult.
Maybe the word was lost in transition. Maybe challenging.
Challenging, yeah.
So the takeaway is do your homework. Don't give up hope.
Be honest.
Be honest. Be teachable. Be a teacher. There are so many opportunities with this program. We are not hiring.
Please do not send your CV.
Do not send
We're
your
not
CV.
hiring.
However, there are a lot of farms here in the United States that are welcoming H2A workers. So do your homework. There is a place out there for you, I promise. And farmers, I highly recommend this. If you have any questions, we would be glad to answer those for you. If you like what you see on the farm, follow us on our social media, Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more information like this. Thanks for watching.